here. Thank you. Thank you very much for that warm introduction, Mr. President. I am delighted to be here. I got to give a special shout out to my Massachusetts friends, the professional firefighters of Massachusetts who are here today, including President Ed Kelly, 3rd District Vice President Mike Mullane. I just want to say, on those two guys and on so many more, I wouldn't be here in the United States Senate if it hadn't been for Eddie and for Mike, if it hadn't been for Dave Keene. You should check out. He was in one of my commercials. He's fabulous. Richie Paris, who makes sure I always have the right jewelry. Those guys, from the very beginning, had my back, and I guarantee I'll always have their backs. That's how it is. So, as all of you know, it's been a hard year for us in Boston. We lost 2 firefighters, a grim reminder that when others run away, it's firefighters who run directly into trouble, even when they have to put their own lives at risk. Now, I understand that this work is inherently dangerous. I understand that it takes a special kind of courage to be a firefighter. What I cannot understand is how this nation can do anything less than make sure that you have every piece of equipment you need, every minute of training you need, and a large enough force so that every time you run into a burning building, you will have the chance, when it's all over, to run back out again, back to your families, back to your communities, back to your fellow firefighters. In Massachusetts, we take seriously the efforts to get our firefighters equipped, but money's short everywhere. Firefighters drive old trucks. Some have old breathing equipment. Many fire stations are in disrepair, and many have faced short staffing. Now, our congressional delegation in Massachusetts has done everything we can to support our firefighters. Last year, we secured $27 million in grants for Massachusetts firefighters. It helped hire people, it helped train people, it helped make sure that we could get much needed new equipment. But the deal is, we don't win all our grant applications. And even when we do win a grant, I realize that there are firefighters elsewhere in the country who didn't get that extra training or that new piece of equipment. We are facing a terrible crisis in this country, the crisis that comes from starving our basic services. We see it everywhere. Roads and bridges that are crumbling, outdated power grids, cutbacks in medical research, schools with crowded classrooms. Why does this happen? Why does the richest nation on earth have an infrastructure system that the American Society for Civil Engineers rates as a D, just above failing? Why does the richest country on earth have public schools whose parents worry that their kids can't get a decent education there? And why does the richest country on earth ask any firefighter to show up at fires with anything less than state-of-the-art equipment? Everyone says, well, the government is broke. But how can it be broke? There's plenty of money for billions of dollars in subsidies for big oil companies. There's plenty of money for special breaks for the owners of thoroughbred racehorses. There's plenty of money for extra deals for the folks who run NASCAR racetracks. So why is there no money to make our country work? I'll tell you why. It's because the game is rigged. It's because oil companies have great lobbyists. It's because NASCAR owners and racehorse owners have friends in Washington. And everyone else who does the people's business, well, everyone else just gets less and less and less. And it's getting worse day by day. There are politicians and lobbyists in Washington that want to slash our budget and cut important investments even more. We all saw it. Just this last month, we saw Republicans hold critical funding for the Department of Homeland Security hostage because they were angry that the president was acting to fix our broken immigration system. Those cuts would have included safer grants and fire grants to our cities and towns, the grants that keep firefighters on the job and make sure that our departments have resources to provide the equipment and training to do their job and to keep our families and communities safe. We should be strengthening our investments in these programs, not threatening their vital funding. So I'm here today to say this isn't right. I'm here to say that our spending should align with our values. Ask 1,000 Americans if they would rather give tax subsidies to the biggest oil companies or the richest banks, or put another $5 billion on the line for equipment and training for firefighters or for medical researchers. And I think the answer would be that big oil and big banks just need to make it on their own. That's what I think Americans would say. And that's why I'm here today. I can rail on about what's wrong in Washington. Heck, I will rail on about what's wrong in Washington. But lobbyists push back hard, and big oil and racehorse owners and big pharmaceuticals, big banks, they're not going to give up their special perks. The only thing that will make a real difference is if we work together. It's you. It's your voice. We need to make each other strong, to make this government work, not just for billionaires and big corporations, but to make this country work for all of the rest of us. That's our job together. Throughout our history, powerful interests have tried to capture Washington and to rig the system in their favor. But we didn't roll over. And at every turn, in every time of challenge, organized labor has been there, fighting on behalf of the American people. That's what unions do. Whether or not individual workers were members of unions, all working people benefited from labor's strong and passionate voice. The labor movement helped guarantee economic security, and it pushed for laws that have become the foundation of this country's commitment to opportunities for all our people. The labor movement made sure that government works for people, not the other way around. This country needs labor on the front lines. We need labor to help rebuild our schools and our economy and our infrastructure. We need labor to make sure that we spend our money consistent with our values. That's what labor will do for us. I'm proud to be standing shoulder to shoulder with you, fighting for hardworking families across this country. I will be a strong voice for you, for your equipment, for your training, for your people. I will be a strong voice for working people across this country. I will do it because it's right. I will do it, but I'm here with an ask. We need your voices too. It's critical that we all speak up, that all of us work to get rid of the rigged game in Washington and to make this country work once again for working people. We got to do this. Our country is in real trouble. Our working families are in real trouble. It is only if we fight back that we once again build the kind of America where it works for working families. Thank you. Thanks for being here. Thank you.